This movie opens with Sipovich admonishing Lisa Janusz as regarding her testimony. But Lisa cuts him short, affirming that she is going to tell Sipovich everything. Lisa starts by introducing the members of the A Squad to Sipovich and other police officers present. Diane Weston is the first member. Diane is the A Squad captain of the cheerleading group. Lisa claims she stole the title from her. Lisa was hoping to make it to the A Squad, as she has been on the B Squad for 4 years. Lisa says she had lots of body work done over the summer so she could be fit enough to make it into the A Squad. Lisa explains that the members of the A Squad are so close to the extent that they get their monthly visit from Aunt Rose at the same time. Lisa claims that some people also call them lesbians. The second member is Hannah Wald. Lisa describes Hannah as a Yuba Christian who doesn't say much, but she is indeed very pretty. The third member is Cleo Miller. Lisa describes Cleo as not being real because she fakes her bra size, and also has to see the shrink based on her obsession with Conan O'Brien. Fourth member, Kansas Hill. Leah describes her as the original bad seed who has a sharp mouth. Lisa says Kansas gets her nut brain from her mother because Kansas' mother has been in prison since the day Kansas was born. This was because Kansas' mom caught her husband having an affair with a nurse in the same hospital that Kansas was born in, and she shot him. So she was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole, which leaves Kansas living with her grandparents. Fifth member is Lucy. Lisa describes Lucy as a geek extraordinaire who is also a walking left brain. Lucy is supposed to have a genius IQ, but she is an obsessive-compulsive little freak. The school year starts off as normal as it always does. The principal, Mr. Smith, gave his usual boring pep talk. The A Squad cheerleading team comes to entertain the entire student body with their routine, while everybody cheers them on with great excitement, except for the members of the B Squad who look at them with so much hatred and disdain. After all routines, the new star quarterback for the football team transferring from Truman High School, Jack Bartlett, is introduced amidst a loud standing ovation. Diane performs her stunts to honor Jack, but in the process knocks Jack out. Jack wakes up to the worried, beautiful face of Diane, who asks if he is okay. Diane starts fantasizing about Jack's handsomeness, while Jack becomes everyone's favorite. The A Squad girls are having a nice time in their room with Diane and Hannah playing a board game. Hannah then reveals that she probably isn't a virgin anymore because she had her first orgasm at a church camp the previous summer. One time at band camp, I stuck a flute. Okay, moving on. Hannah explains that she went horseback riding with the nuns. The horses were trotting really hard, and Hannah felt so alive. Later, at the Lincoln High School homecoming king and queen candidacy announcement, Jack is selected by the football team to represent the team, where he also reveals that he wants 3 things in life. He says he wants to become a senator of his state. He wants to lead the mighty Fighting Lincolns to victory in the homecoming games, and he also wants to go to the homecoming dance with Diane Weston, making the whole school excited. One of my wishes in life would have been $1 billion, but go with Jack. Jack and Diane then become the talk of the school as some students agree to them being the perfect match for each other. And Jack and Diane got so close in no time. Much later, Jack and Diane are preparing for the homecoming dance at Diane's house, while the parents of Jack and Diane are present in Diane's house. Jack and Diane both walk down the stairs and their parents cheer them on. Just then, Jack announces to their parents that he and Diane are getting married. The parents, though surprised, agree with their decision and shows great excitement. Diane then adds that the wedding is going to be held after she has had her baby. Jack's mom faints and Jack's dad blurted that he doesn't want to see either of their faces again. Jack and Diane both sit in Jack's GTO car outside the house weighing their options. Diane tries to motivate Jack into believing that they both can work it out, that despite all odds, and that as long as they stay true to their commitments, they both will be successful in the long run. Honestly, girl, in this economy, it costs so much to have a child. Diane tells the other girls in the A Squad about her condition. At first, the squad are furious and worried, with each girl stating her own feeling. Cleo gets confused, saying she thought Diane already had the baby, but threw it out and is back to dancing with the squad. Kansas asks Diane how much she needs for an abortion, but Hannah screams out saying abortion is not an option, saying her church could arrange a place for Diane to stay for the entire period of her pregnancy, after which the child would be given to a family to care for it. And Diane will be back to the squad in no time, but she will only be fat and puffy. Diane then wins their hearts over with little persuasion, after which the squad pledges their support and promises to stand by her throughout the entire process. Jack also tells the boys the same night, and they boys were excited about the fact that he nailed Diane Weston, not giving much thought how worried Jack is about his future. Jack and Diane rent a house of their own after being kicked out of their respective homes. This adventure comes with so much difficulty for the couple. The next struggle comes from job hunting. Jack gets a job at a guacamole bank, but he was fired after a while based on his incompetence. He gets another job at Lucky Plucker, but also doesn't last a week. Jack keeps getting fired from every job he gets until Jack eventually secures a job at a physical Netflix store. Jack and Diane go shopping one day, and Diane realizes that the money they have left will not take them far. But in spite of their issues coming up with the rent money, Jack and Diane try as hard as they can to survive while going to school at the same time. Lisa, who has a bitter one-sided rivalry with Diane, occasionally runs into Jack at the rental store. She is interested in winning Jack's heart, but repeatedly fails to get his attention. The A Squad girls come to visit Diane, and they are all watching a movie where a bank heist is going on. Suddenly, Diane gets an idea on how to raise money for her baby and to fulfill her dreams. She explains to the girls that they can rob a bank. It takes Diane a little while before she is able to convince the girls to accept her proposal. The girls all then decide to watch a series of criminal movies to learn the perfect way to rob a bank without getting caught. After that, they all swear not to tell Jack about it. Kansas visits her mother at the women's penitentiary for tips on robbing a bank and where to find weaponry. Kansas' mother introduces her to some of her cellmates, who all in turn give the squad lesson on how to properly rob a bank and not get caught, including all the codes and ethics of robbing the bank. Following the women's advice, the squad visits a bug exterminator, Hank the Terminator Rogers, who sells illegal arms and ammo. After failing to negotiate on prices, Hank offers to give them the guns for free on the condition that they befriend his socially awkward daughter, Fern, and put her on their squad. The squad reluctantly accepts Fern into their circle. The squad starts training Fern with all their basic routines, and at the same time, they all begin rehearsing the robbery, as well as their choreography for the winter ball. During winter break, they ordered doll masks which they will use to hide their identities during the robbery. On the eve of the robbery, Lucy backs out of the heist because she receives a scholarship to Harvard. The squad gets furious with anger, claiming that Lucy is going against all the rules and regulations guiding the National High School Cheerleading Association's Pledge of Allegiance and Conformity. But Lucy wouldn't budge, saying she would turn in her pom-poms after Christmas. Fern then volunteers to take Lucy's place in the heist if the squad wouldn't mind, and everyone is happy again. At Christmas, Diane receives an engagement ring from Jack. She then learns that he sold his GTO car in order to buy her the ring. The squad is then forced to obtain a new getaway vehicle, prompting Fern to volunteer her father's work van with bad brakes. At their first robbery at a supermarket, Lucy returns to the group, having decided to help them after all. Lisa happens to be in the store at the time of the robbery, and notices that they perform cheerleader stunts in order to cover up the security cameras. The squad robs the bank and comes close to shooting a customer after one of the guns discharges by mistake. They take off with them loads of cash and honor their success after burning their costumes. The robbery is widely reported in the media, becoming a juggernaut. Neither Diane or her friends expect Lisa to suspect them until they are confronted by her and the B Squad in the high school cafeteria, followed by the FBI. Following this, Diane and her friends gets arrested and need an alibi. So Diane promises to promote Lisa to captain of the A Squad in order to keep Lisa silent, since she is approaching her third trimester and cannot do meticulous activity. The group is outraged, but come to appreciate the decision. In order to cover up her actions, Diane tells Jack that she won the lottery. After they have their twins, Jack's political advisor kicks off his senatorial campaign, while Jack wins his senatorial campaign, and Diane reunites with her parents. Hannah used the money to start a small business, which happens to be the most successful riding school in the state. Fern grew into her looks and uses her money to travel the world. Kansas appeals her mother's case, and the judge rules that a woman in labor for 32 hours could not be held responsible for her actions. Lucy graduates from Harvard and invents a pizza box. She now owns the island of Guana in the British Virgin Islands. Cleo moves to Hollywood, where she meets the producer of Scream. She was last spotted in Soho shopping for leather furniture. Lisa eventually gets married to Bruce, despite how badly she felt about him. What a hilarious movie. If you like movies that don't take themselves seriously, you should definitely check this one out. What did you guys think?
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.